Ninja Turtle-like three-finger hand robot is incredible. AI-generated people are winning Golden Globes, and honestly, I can't tell if they're just up-and-coming Hollywood people or if they're AI-generated anymore. Seems like Sam Altman's starting to create an OK Grok meme. Guess he's calling out far-right bot bias. Asmongold reacts to the best of applications of AI. Look, they're so cute. Get in my hand, you little thing. I mean, I don't know. It seems cute to have a bunch of little My Little Ponies in my hand, but also, who needs that? Updates in artificial noses. E-noses, that is. Rotten food, toxic gases, you know, the stuff that people are smelling. Now AI smells it better. John Deere is now making self-driving trucks that are literally the size of a house. Definitely let's not hook that one up to Skynet. The stimulation clicker made it to the top of Hacker News today, and it's so fun. It might be more addictive than TikTok, just to be honest. China's got a new brain-computer interface, kind of like Neuralink, but it decodes your thoughts in real time. Pretty sure with papers like this coming out that there will be no human sport that doesn't have a near perfect referee watching it. Monica Anderson argues that deep expertise is going to be the real commodity of the next 5 years. Deep knowledge is the edge case of training data. Microsoft dropped a pretty weird blog. Basically, they're dropping $80 billion on servers, and I think they want to just convince the public, like, yo, go America. New York Times wrote an article on hallucinations, and it got me thinking about how hallucinations and creativity are kind of like two sides of the same coin. And Noah Hadrick wrote a piece about time glitches. But first, Grimlock, you want to transform into a Patreon subscriber? It's not extinction time, it's Patreon time. Patreon.com/Dylan Curious. Support this channel. All right, this is the new Turobo Hand V1 from Tokyo Robotics. It can grasp objects of any shape using torque and impedance control without prior knowledge of their exact dimensions thanks to artificial intelligence. And look, I'm somebody who's seen my share of robotic hands. This one kind of looks like the best. Still be scared to death they would like crush my hand if I shook it, but that person certainly had faith enough to do it, and it seems like it's pretty soft in its grip, yet natural. I mean, look, you can put that Coke bottle in there and, you know, shake the hand around, you just shake it back and forth. It's got a nice little swingy loose wrist there, loose fingers. Yeah, kind of just grips together, huh? Everett World says it looks phenomenal. That is a phenomenal hand. Okay, so check out this realistic footage from the Golden Globes. I mean, being honest, I don't always know all the actors and actresses that are like getting awards. Sometimes they're for movies I've never heard of. They're people I've never seen before. And I would definitely say in January of 2025 that you can basically fake it. And I wouldn't know the difference. I mean, that person, they could be in one of those movies. Maybe the sequel to Crazy Rich Asians or something. I don't know. That guy, maybe he's the director or something. That guy's the producer. I don't know. What about this one? I don't even know if that's real or not. You know, it's probably real. To me, even these people blurry in the background are looking too realistic to fake. I mean, those awards look pretty real. These people in the background look real. I don't know. I can't tell anymore. Let's just be clear. CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, who usually gets kind of bullied around, as in his own words, by Elon Musk, decided to start throwing some shade back at him today. 3 million Twitter followers, arguably in charge of the most important AI company in the world, posted a 6-word story today, near the singularity, unclear which side. But what was most interesting to me was his reply to this kind of derogatory comment, gay men will bring the destruction of society. He replied, okay, Grok. Dang. Is Grok's perceived right-wing media bias going to become a new thing? Okay, Grok, like okay, boomer? We'll see. I can tell you this, no matter what the Grok model and the OpenAI models actually do in terms of like left and right-wing bias, I can promise that there is going to be a huge argument and just like slandering everywhere that like, OpenAI is so woke and that Grok is so like right-wing propaganda. I guarantee that battle's coming. It's just in the nature of the internet. Asmongold has started to dip his toe into the AI kind of guys, I think it's over world, and his reactions are priceless.
This is Toy Story for people who belong in jail. Okay. I mean, I wouldn't go that far, right? I'm not sure that's true. Oh, man. AI is crazy. This is wild. I can't wait. Like, it's gotten so much better, hasn't it? I don't know what to say.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so I popped into this Lex Freeman video, and by default, because I speak English, it was actually converted from the Russian or Ukrainian that it was filmed in. And I immediately knew something was up with the podcast. It seemed a bit robotic in its delivery, and it seemed out of sync, but it was pretty usable. And if this technology is now rolled out to a limited amount of creators on YouTube and it can scale, can you imagine how much content is about to like overnight be instantly unlocked for every other country? There's 1 billion people in China making incredible AI content that I never consume. I'm going to start listening to their podcasts this way, and I'm going to probably get some interesting insights, I think. But that's going to be the same for so many genres and so much content. And I guess I could always argue that this day was coming, but for the first time, I really listened to some conversation in another language that was translated just all automatically thanks to artificial intelligence in a way that doesn't need a human to translate for me and pretty much will scale across the entire globe.
Military headquarters where all key people gathered. This is not only about the military, it's about energy, etc., all key things. But at that moment, I made the decisions. Quickly and without a doubt.
All right, let's talk about wireless microchips. So I don't totally understand why, but the shape and design of microchips can basically be done in an infinite amount of ways, and there are some that are just better at tasks than others, especially when it comes to like signaling over the air. Now, humans have experimented with lots of different designs. We've honed it in over the years. There's certain rules of thumb that make it so that some chips are better than others that experts learn. But when you give the task to an AI to do and organize a chipset, a chip design to maximize its functionality, it turns out that it makes these really weird, seemingly organic looking designs that don't look anything like humans normally make. So these are the kind of devices that would be used for Wi-Fi, radar, and all sorts of like futuristic tech stuff. And instead of spending all of this time learning, calculating, rearranging chips, these AIs are whipping up these strange, almost alien looking circuits that somehow work way better than the human designed versions. You know, sometimes with this AI kind of channel, I've seen some pretty organic or alien looking designs also for 3D printed structures that are stronger than normal structures, and they do have kind of a weird sort of like tree bark like look. And now to think that the same thing is kind of here to optimize Wi-Fi chips is I just find it really interesting. The AI can unlock these like completely new ways of building chips that might be too complex for humans to dream up on our own. You know, and I like designs like this showing up. It's kind of like when Go and chess games were being run by AI and all these new interesting moves came into play. And then humans were like, maybe we can learn some of those and they became better. I think these kind of designs also make you question, like, what is it about this design that works so well? And then humans can look at it, apply some logic, try to get a deeper understanding about why it works. And it just kind of feels like we're on this new creative partnership with machines. I mean, you know, until they don't need us at all anymore. So researchers believe that the anti-nose could match or exceed both human and canine olfactory abilities. And it's using technology that's already present in our homes. And their findings were published in the Journal of Sensors and Actuators B Chemical. Okay, so this nose uses a single antenna, and it is coated with a graphene oxide to detect various volatile organic compounds, VOCs, and then a system is trained, an artificial intelligence system. So then an AI model can be trained on what it detects to correlate that with the certain smells that are in the room, and it can get to a pretty impressive accuracy, 96.7%, when distinguishing between tricky little isomers. Because you got to remember, a smell is like an actual molecule floating into your nose. So unlike those traditional underpowered e-noses of before, you know, the kind that needed hundreds of sensors to smell anything, this new ant nose simplifies the design, cuts down on power usage, and is cheaper to produce. And this nose has been through the ringer. Let me tell you, they have tested it on everything from spoiled apples to fresh strawberries, even pork. shows that it can effectively monitor food quality and detect damage in real-life scenarios. Plus, it maintains stable communication while sensing, which makes it super versatile for integrating into existing technology like smartphones and IoT devices. Yo, we're gonna have noses in our iPhones pretty soon. Can you just see the Apple announcement? And one more thing. Tim Cook touches his nose softly. Crowd goes wild. So John Deere has unveiled their first self-driving articulated dump truck. They're also debuting a battery-powered mower for commercial landscaping, but some next-gen autonomous tractors, including that giant one that's built for orchard, is pretty impressive. So unlike Teslas, they do come with LiDAR to make them better at not running over people, so that's a good thing because that could easily run over a person. Also comes with ability to blast air. And the cool thing is, because some of this farm equipment is also so expensive and so kind of like you only buy it once or twice in like the history of a farm, they have a whole system for replacing older equipment also with artificial intelligence self-driving upgrades. But the newest models just come with it all built in. It even comes with a mobile app, allows you to control that thing remotely. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for, the stimulation clicker. This could easily overwhelm you, okay? So make sure you're not driving a car, you're not doing anything where if you get like completely sucked into this, that you're gonna cause a problem. Watch, click, 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 click. Whoa, what's that? I just bought that for my 10 stimulations and now, look, I'm getting even more. For 3 stimulations, I can buy this bouncing DVD. We'll need that. Oh, you can buy more than one? Remember that episode of The Office where they tried to wait for it to hit the corner? How about a tab title? Let's do that for 5 stimulations. SPS counter 25? Whoa. Okay, let's get to 100 stimulations and see what else we can unlock. Button upgrade, Subway Surfer, breaking news horn, critical hits. Oh, 200 for a critical hit. Let's go get that. What is this? 250. Then we get lo-fi beats. Oh, more DVDs. Subway Surfers. Oh, I need 100 on that again. Guys, we can get a pinwheel for 700. Hydraulic press for 1,000. Rain sounds for 300. On and on it goes. Feel free to share your experience with this app, this website in the description below. If you survive, if I ever see you again. China has a big breakthrough in brain-computer interfaces. So this company, NeuroXS, like Neuralink, but with XESS at the end. They have developed a brain-computer interface that has been implanted in a patient with epilepsy. And using artificial intelligence in real time, it can decode her thoughts into speech. And not only that, it is allowing her, as of today, to even control a robotic arm that interacts with artificial intelligence just using the signals from her brain. This device uses a high-tech 256-channel system to pick up detailed brain activity, allowing her to do things like play games, use smartphone apps, and even manage smart home devices. I mean, it shows how pliable the brain is, because within weeks of her surgery, she was able to communicate and control these technologies in ways that were previously impossible. That includes an arm that's translating thoughts. Like, I do wonder if even, and I didn't always think this, but if someone who's older, someone who's maybe even in their 50s or 60s, if they could get the future of whatever Neuralink becomes, these brain-computer interfaces installed, could they like instantly control a robotic dinosaur, a robot vacuum, a robotic arm, a humanoid? I mean, maybe it will be like Marvel superheroes that just like take control like of a robot and like send it forward just with a gesture. I don't know. I mean, imagine a drone, a humanoid robot, a car, all just under your control, just through thoughts. All right, after reading this paper out of the Alibaba group in China, I did realize that soccer might be the first sport to have near perfect accuracy in terms of refereeing thanks to an artificial intelligence vision system, but it will not be the last one. And I was trying to imagine if I like that or not. You know, I don't think that there's any kind of benefit to the imperfections of a basketball or an NFL referee. There's just so many times I've been like, ref, why? That's not how the game should have played out. So when I read this paper, Towards Universal Soccer Video Understanding, I did kind of think, all right, we're pretty much going to maybe still have human referees for 2025, 2026-ish. But I don't think they'll be necessary after that unless humans decide they want that human level imperfection because it's part of the excitement. And even that I don't think would last for long. They might make that ruling for a while, but once some Super Bowl is just completely botched or something and all of this money is on the line in Las Vegas and people are upset, I think there's going to be demand. Like, we need AI systems in football or something. So it's only a matter of time until referees are, and you know, the other cool thing is a camera vision system could be set up at like a high school, at a junior high, for basketball games, for volleyball games. And that would just be better because especially in those sports, it's always just some like dad who's not paying attention. And he's like, oh, foul? So there's this new model. It came out of Alibaba. It introduced a big data set. It was called Soccer Replay 1988. Has almost 2,000 full matches of soccer games. And they're all super detailed and annotated. So it's all the data the machine needs to learn. Then they created this AI model called Match Vision, which is a groundbreaking model that can understand and interpret soccer games by classifying each event and even generating commentary over it. And even though this model in particular wasn't about calling fouls, about how the game is actually refereed, the experiment showed that this match vision can outperform all existing models by a ton in understanding exactly what's happening in the game. So it gives us this whole new tool to analyze games, what happened, who gets like the assist, who gets this or that, who had the fouls. And then from there, it's like one step closer into refereeing. And I think this blend of AI sports, maybe doing commentary, maybe doing statistical analysis, maybe we've seen some of the other models that do more of the Nerf style thing where you can actually like view the game from different angles. And then of course, deciding from a rule book whether or not it broke a rule or not. It's all just going to come together really soon. All right, let's talk about this article from Monica Anderson. She posted this on Substack. It is called the Mythical AI Minute. So in this article, she's getting to the heart of programming. And my other job, I'm working as a startup. We just hired 4 engineers that are coding. And I sat with Microsoft Copilot today and I was like, are you using it? Do you like it? What can it help you with? What can it not? And it was interesting to see how the engineers were on completely different pages. Some thought it was God's gift to programming and it makes them all productive. Others were very resistant. Some thought it didn't help in any way that was like truly useful yet. So reading this, the evolution of AI in programming and how eye-opening it was to somebody like her who had insights into software project management and AI-assisted programming, just kind of blew my mind. It is possible to whip up medium-sized web apps in minutes. You should be aware of that. Replit is one that I've played with and it seems really powerful. Even Claude's interface, if you're going to build something with React or something just kind of fairly web-based HTML5, it can do it and just present it to you and you can interact with it and adjust it. But you still need experienced programmers, I think, in most cases to do anything truly kind of enterprise, truly business-oriented still. I mean, it won't last forever. When Replit was actually able to containerize the whole thing, bring the right operating system mechanics into, maybe it was a Docker container, I can't remember, but like somehow it just worked. Like it had its own environment. That was amazing. That's so much of the hardest part sometimes in building these things. But in the article, she starts to bring in the fact that like one of the last things that's going to be disrupted is deep expertise. So in theory, a company would only need one deeply knowledgeable expert on Git and one expert that knows how to recompile the kernel. So many of our AIs are capable of adequate skills useful in many different situations. Their most impressive feats today are not necessarily brilliant. Rather, it's the sufficient mastery of every task required to complete a large project in mere minutes, or even in a few days if humans need to be involved. So they're good at the boring stuff. Every industry project requires documentation, installation methods, README files, licenses. All of these can be recreated with almost no human effort required. But here's where the important part is. The experienced programmers do have an edge in that when they write a product specification, they have a much better chance at avoiding expensive early design mistakes. They can still guide AI like, whoa, no, we don't want to build the app that way because in the long run, that doesn't make sense. They're not thinking quite that far ahead yet. But programming by conversation is a really fascinating thing to do. I think you might have heard that quote that like ChatGPT is like having 1,000 interns. That's useful in some cases, but it's not enough to like put you over the finish line with excellent products yet. Is it a super tutor? Yes, it is. Is it good at getting intermediate people up to speed quickly? Yeah, it's pretty good at that. Small bugs will be discovered and corrected by AI without even asking, and medium-sized problems can be straightened out with some programmer interaction. So yeah, this article just kind of hit close to home because I was dealing with this all day today, but it is fascinating to kind of see where we're at with AI and programming in particular. And I think Monica Anderson does a great job, like just kind of making you understand where we're at in this world and how a lot of things are more possible than they have been in the past and where you still kind of need some people involved. But hey, that might not be the same case in 2026. I wouldn't be surprised if in 12 months this article is completely different. So Microsoft dropped this sort of inspirational Go America kind of document I wanted to share. So I remember reading that the $100 billion server investment they were going to make, the Stargate super project, was like many years. And then this newest thing that they just dropped on January 3rd is like, we're spending $80 billion this year. And they're calling it the golden opportunity for American AI. And I don't disagree with it. I actually really like this article. I think there's a lot we can learn from it, and I'm pretty much on board, but it also feels like propaganda to me. But maybe it's just me wanting to buy into this kind of flavor of propaganda or kind of agreeing with it, but it still felt strange. Like, why are you doing this, Microsoft? Like, are you lobbying me or something? So it's official. It's on the Microsoft blog. It's a comparison between AI and electricity. It highlights how the next few years could set the stage for a decade of economic success in the US and also positions us quite a bit as kind of opposed to China. Like if we don't do it, then we miss out on this next decade. So Microsoft says to win, we basically need to push hard on three main fronts. We have to ramp up AI technology and infrastructure. We've got to boost education and training so everybody can get on board with AI. And we need exporting American AI to strengthen global partnerships. I so agree. I mean, I even felt this way a couple of years ago. I was like, sure, spending the money for the infrastructure is probably the easiest one. But when China broadcast over state-run media the DeepMind Go championships, that really inspired a huge generation of people to get into this like 5 years ago. And it's starting to pay a lot of dividends. And we had this when Watson, I don't know if you remember, Watson was on TV playing Jeopardy. That felt like a big moment. That was one of those kind of like, oh, it got a lot of people excited about what machine learning could be. And then I just don't know if we had another big thing like that. Like, where's the big inspirational media thing? Maybe it's a social media thing. It's all the like Elon Musk with Grok versus Sam Altman, and that's going to be like the battle that catches the imagination of the younger generation and people pick their sides and get involved. So maybe that's how it's different in the US. But then strengthening global partnerships was probably the part that I hadn't thought about the most, but does make sense. Like with the UAE building all of this kind of infrastructure. So are they going to build it with sort of a Western thinking to what the use cases are, to how they open source it, to how they decide to not censor it? Maybe, maybe not. Is there a way that these AI models can be so important to the world that it could actually bring China, the US, Russia, even the countries like North Korea and Taiwan together? Maybe. I'm generally more of a doomer than that, but if you think about it, there are possibilities, but there's also ways we could just clash heads, and that one seems like it's a little more likely to me. But it's clear that Microsoft sees AI as a game changer. Much like past industrial revolutions, they're investing billions to make sure the US stays ahead, although it could just be so they get rich. And they're kind of using the veneer of America to kind of inspire us, I guess, more. But you can see right here at the end of their blog, finally, the United States is in a strong position to win the essential race with China by advancing international adoption of American AI. American products are more trusted than their Chinese counterparts, and our private sector is unmatched in its ability to invest in infrastructure around the world. With a balanced and common sense approach to export control policy, the United States can solidify diplomatic relations that will be critical to global AI adoption. Okay, so the New York Times dropped a super interesting article on AI hallucinations. And it's interesting because it tied into something I had heard on a podcast about how there's such a fine difference between the mistakes of a hallucination, the overconfident mistakes that make it untrustworthy, and the kind of things that we call so powerful when it comes to creativity. So when these kind of AlphaFold style systems are doing drug discovery, they're predicting protein folding and they make a mistake. Look what Amy McGovern says. The public thinks it's bad, but it's actually giving scientists new ideas. It's giving them the chance to explore ideas that they might not have thought about otherwise. But now AI hallucinations are reinvigorating the creative side of science. They speed up the process by which scientists and innovators dream up new ideas and test them to see if reality concurs. So AI hallucinations arise when scientists teach generative computer models about a particular subject and then let the machine rework that information. It's a mistake and it's creativity. Just depends on the situation you're applying it to. But in this case, experts said in the interviews that the imaginings of scientific AI have major advantages compared to the hallucinations of chatbots and their kin. Most fundamentally, they said that creative bursts are rooted in the hard facts of nature and science rather than in the ambiguous human language or the blur of the internet that's already known for its biases and falsehoods. So yeah, as the models are more rooted in physics, like some of that omniverse stuff that we talked about with NVIDIA last week, when it comes to training robots in simulations where they're pretty much real world wood and physics and gravity and air resistance, then the hallucinations are more just like learning opportunities. All right, so my last video was looking healthy. AI fooled thousands with fake fireworks show, 7.1 thousand views. Oh, dang, $9.99 super thanks. Pedera, 1130. Thank you for the support, much appreciated. Heart, thumbs up. Heck, might as well just pin it to win it. Oh, a lot more doomy than normal today, ha ha ha. Also, the lighting seemed different in this video for some reason. Love the videos. All right, glad you got a good laugh out of that. Yeah, I mean, the only way for me to kind of cope with it is like, what am I, like, there's always stuff to be worried about. There's stuff with the government and climate change, and there's potential for war, and there's uncontrollable technology, and there's our ancestors, there were snakes and bears and everything too. Like, we still have to live life. We still have to be with regular people that we love, and we have to make the best we can out of each day, and especially when things are good. And realistically, I mean, everybody's in a different situation, but like, I feel blessed right now. I've got a lot of interesting opportunities, and it's a lot of fun to be able to like make these videos for you. I can't sit here and just be like a lump on a log, even if my Bayesian probabilities for the future have some high risk. Let's just acknowledge it and try our best to avoid it. Great show. First time watching your work. First time caller, or what's it called? Like, hey, long time listener, first time caller. First time to watch your work and subscribed. After watching, I get the feeling that there will be a day when we rely on AI to discern the truth. Yeah, AI will describe our world in more detail, with more insight, with more accuracy than anyone has ever in the history of Earth ever experienced. I think biology, physics, cosmology, psychology, you name it, it's going to go deep into all of those and tell us amazing things about the world. And it's going to sell us a bunch of crap and lie to us all the time too. It just depends on which model and what the context is. Ooh, federated data could also be a means for reinforcement learning. We know that AI can generate unlimited data to use in reinforcement learning, but of course it costs GPU cycles to create it. If everybody's phone, tablet, or PC had a method where people are using their local AI to spit out some safe RL data, non-identifiable. Interesting point. That can be shared up to the cloud for frontier AI models to use. You've got a massive stream of new free RL data, and you're right, it's pretty unique in the source that it comes from. And, you know, little pauses and stuff on your phone, or little things that bother you about it that it detects because you weren't happy with its output, could be summarized up, brought up to the cloud to train it better too. So we could do reinforcement learning in a much more natural way. It could interpret our realistic stumblings or the time it takes us to solve a problem on the phone, to get something on our calendar. If we keep rearranging it on the calendar, then it didn't do a good job like doing that, so it didn't understand time and date information properly, yada yada, summarizes it, goes up to the cloud, federated style. Very interesting thought. You're going in the song. Ooh, I hope I don't have too many lyrics, but oh well, we'll see what happens. Okay, should we do some sad rap? I didn't know that was a genre. With a little bit of loot thrown in, some sad rap with loot. Let's see what we're going to get ourselves into this time. And while I'm waiting for that song to generate, I thought we could look at Noah Hadrick's article, You're Not Crazy, It's a Time War. A notice board for strange time glitches. Okay, I know that some of you have been asking about time glitches on my Patreon. I think it's fun to think about. I think it's a little bit in the flat earth world, so I'm not taking it too seriously, to be honest. But you know what? I am going to do an interview. I just booked this today with the guy who wrote The Impossible Seas, Matt Strasser. Okay, I finished this book, thought it was amazing. It's one of the best breakdowns of how everything is just a field, and the field's kind of like, you can kind of pick at them like the way you would a guitar string, and like that goes like doing, and it like pops up and it touches other fields, and that becomes like actual particles, and that's the best way to think about the universe. I'm going to let him do a much better job explaining it when I interview him. But I think he's totally underrated. I wish more people gave him the kind of attention he deserves. He's a great science communicator, right up there with Sean Carroll. In fact, this podcast I've listened to, it's worth it. This one I'm still in the middle of, or I'm actually just starting. And in it, he talks about how it's so interesting that like two things in space are relative to each other, but there is no master thing that they're all relative to, like the way two people in a room and a floor, and like what is stuff and what is nothing. It's so good. Anyway, side note, it just got me thinking about that, because that was my whole thought on time has been kind of upended recently. But back to time glitches. So Noah Hadrick said that he's noticed dozens of different time glitches in Glitch in the Matrix. So he's found dozens of reports online of strange things happening to people. Like there's this guy who's a bartender, and 3 minutes passed in only 45 seconds in his mind. And I guess everything is kind of in fast forward for a minute. There's another example where a baby changes gender during the time glitch. I know the same can be said about alien abduction phenomenon, which I feel like is related. And look at this guy, r/glitch in the Matrix. A jar of honey resealed itself after I ate from it. We both lost an hour. Melted screen print in sweatshirt fixed itself. How do you explain this? Car just vanished. Any ideas? My dog had a hand-paw hybrid. Lost my favorite lipstick, and when I found it, it was unused. I'm sorry, but I need to join. Not because I believe it, but because I don't know. I'm just highly entertained right now. All right, I'll scroll some more r/glitch in the Matrix while I play this song for you, Sad Rap Loot. If you go to my Patreon right now, /Dylan Curious, subscribe. It would really support the channel, help me grow. Or hit that join button right here on YouTube. If nothing else, leave a comment, share it with somebody, hit subscribe. Here you go.
A lot more doomy than normal today. Also, the lighting seems different in this video for some reason. Love the videos. Great show. First time to watch your work and subscribed. After watching, I get the feeling that there will be a day when we will rely on AI to discern truth.
Ooh, that's cool.
Federated data could also be a means for reinforcement learning. We know that AI can generate unlimited data to use in RL, but of course it costs GPU cycles to create it. If everyone's phone, table T, or PC had a method while people are using their local AI to also spit out some safe RL data that can be shared up into the cloud for frontier AIs to use, you've got a massive game of new free RL data.
See you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.